Shocked, dismayed, heartbroken, but sadly not surprised. That was my feeling, shared I'm sure by many of you, as news broke last May of the discovery of 215 unmarked graves of small children on the grounds of the former Kamloops Indian Residential School. Shocked, dismayed, and heartbroken, because the sheer number of bodies speaks to the extent of the atrocities in the Indian residential school system, a volume of horror that we have only just begun to catalog. Even the survivors, those who carry tragic personal stories of neglect, abuse, and violence, may not yet realize the full extent of the crimes that were perpetrated across the entire country. But, sadly, not surprised. We in the Church have been aware of these outrageous injustices for generations, though it has been only very recently that we have started to acknowledge them, to repent, grieve, and make our first feeble attempts at reconciliation with First Nations. The dreadfulness of the Indian residential school system, of which the Anglican Church of Canada was a willing partner, points conclusively toward a systemic, intentional genocide. The foundational principles of the residential schools, born from a toxic bias of colonial assumptions and racist white supremacy, perpetrated abuses of unchecked power. We in the Church weaponized our faith, inflicting indignities on the first peoples of this land, justifying our racist attitudes with a perversion of Christian evangelism and outreach. Physical, mental, emotional, sexual, and spiritual abuse followed, as Archbishop Michael Pearce historically declared in our Church's Apology to Native People in 1993. I accept and I confess before God and you our failures in the residential schools. We failed you, we failed ourselves, we failed God. Regret and remorse are necessary but not sufficient. I call on the Church for a renewed commitment to establish right relations with First Nations of this land where we are privileged to live. We must insist that the Government of Canada adopt the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and immediately prioritize the implementation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's 94 calls to action. We must lobby for and work together in providing necessities of life in Indigenous communities, including clean drinking water, stable housing, appropriate medical services, and local schools. There is a cost to all of this, but it is a cost we are willing to make. In 2021, Diocesan Council made two significant decisions that aim to help right our relationships with First Nations people. First, we chose to donate a tithe to Indigenous partners from funds received through the sale of surplus property over the next 5 years. This is a primary consideration of the diocese, to give to Indigenous peoples first before other diocesan initiatives are considered. Second, Diocesan Council donated $300,000 to the Spirit Garden Project in response to the Call to Action number 82. Call to Action number 82 requests that the residential school monuments be installed in each provincial capital. The Spirit Garden at Toronto City Hall will be a place for teaching, learning, sharing, and healing. But I believe we can do more. That's why I'm inviting each one of us as parish communities and individuals to make a special financial gift in support of the Spirit Garden project this year. Included with this year's FaithWorks material is information about the project and an opportunity to give. Give what you can, over and above what you would normally give to FaithWorks. It is my sincere hope and prayer that Anglicans across the diocese will collectively provide a comparable gift as was donated by Diocesan Council. It will take generations to undo the pain and suffering caused by our forebears, and indeed ourselves. through systemic neglect of First Nations in Canada. The Spirit Garden Project is one step in the journey of recovery, and I invite your support. I also invite parishes to commit to promoting this important cause during June, National Indigenous History Month, and especially on June 19th, National Indigenous Sunday. A deep healing is required, one that will involve painful honesty, a complete re-evaluation of our shared history, and an intense examination of how we want to be in relationship with each other going forward. We need to engage in this work with humility and an earnest desire for renewal. As disciples of Jesus Christ, we are called to do nothing less.